Hello, I'm so glad that you could join with me today. I'm going to pull some cards for the collective and see what messages pop out. We just never know what's coming. I feel like there's some really good energy here today, and hopefully we can provide some guidance and understanding in our path. We're seeing some disappointment in the recent actions of others, or the lack of their action or response. Sometimes these are the result of your own expectations. Like, that disappointment is because you thought that someone was going to behave with the same standards that you do. And in some of these situations, I'm getting that these people the audacity was on sale. They just really went for it. And it hurt you in a way you weren't expecting. It was disappointing in ways that we weren't fully prepared for. And it's hitting a little bit harder than we expected. We wanted to be able to say, that's not going to bother me, and it's okay, it is what it is, I expected it, not surprised by this individual. But it actually feels a little bit deeper than that, because it's they knew what they were doing. It felt like they knew what they were doing. They were taking action without considering your feelings, or perhaps your feelings were placed to the bottom of the priority list, or maybe they saw what was going to happen, and they said, well, this is about me, and I'm going to take care of me first. And when this card comes up, for me, it's a big reminder that no one is going to love me as well as I can love myself. And it's because of my ability to love myself that I see a standard of how I want to conduct myself, and how I want to live, and how I want to be different. So just that reminder that sometimes we separate ourselves from people and situations for our best interest, for our healing, for our peace. And while they may never change, that's really not something that you have to carry with you, and it's not going to help you to carry that with you at all. Really interesting. I pulled both the Empress and the Emperor. So I feel very strongly, some of us are dealing with the mother wound, some of us are dealing with father wound, and some of us are dealing with both. And so that disappointment may feel strongly, like, for a lot of us, is coming from people that are very close to us, that have been stabilizing pieces in our lives, or at least we're supposed to be in some way. So what I'm feeling with these cards coming up is more about how it's so critical and important for us to embrace our child self, that wounded child within, and ask that child self, what did you need? Because we're at the place now where we're able to provide that to ourselves. We are mother and father. We have people in our lives who step in and provide that unconditional love and support to us. And we have chosen family that has stepped in and provides the support, and they listen to us, and they honor and respect our boundaries in the way that we did not necessarily have growing up. So it's given us this, like, advantage to be aware of this in such a way that we can say, okay, why did that hurt me? And this is what the real shadow work is. The shadow work is really questioning the deep wounds, and saying, why is my reaction this way to this situation? Why do I feel let down and disappointed in somebody that I trusted? And there's we put conditions on situations that we didn't realize that we were putting conditions on, and it's all from that early programming. So with this, we're focusing on the balance and recognizing the periods of time where we need to embrace the feminine aspects and embrace the masculine aspects and keep them in balance so that we don't allow them to go too far off. Our natural divine feminine, our empress, is the tender, patient, nurturing, trustworthy, healing, creative, receiving side, where we're able to accept what's being shared with us, accept the love that's being offered to us, without conditions, with just embracing what's been shared, and nurturing that, and nurturing those relationships, and nurturing those opportunities to become closer to individuals, to really build community and camaraderie, and sisterhood and brotherhood with individuals who very well may have suffered similar or parallel types of wounds as you. And then over on our masculine side, in the divine masculine, recognizing when it's our responsibility to step up, when it's our responsibility to hold our ground, to be brave, to be courageous, to take action and say, we're going to stop this right here. The feminine is protecting and nurturing and healing, but the masculine isn't going to allow it to continue. The father is the active guardian, the active protector. Whereas we come here to tend to our wounds, who is going to protect you from those wounds being inflicted upon someone? That's when you step into that divine masculine. That's when you step into your emperor energy. And you embrace that aspect of self. And maybe we have a good example of that now, and how that's done in a gentle and responsible way that we didn't necessarily see before. And maybe we did not have that safe space to retreat to after it's all said and done. So Spirit is calling upon you now to go ahead and do the healing, tend to the side that needs the tending to. It's not going to be the same for every individual, and you're going to have to recognize both at times. You're going to have to be both roles for yourself. You're going to have to understand the depth of which these wounds really reach, and the result of which is that we're able to finally start putting these pieces together. We can, in some cases, forgive and forget and move on, and have an established relationship. But there's a process by which this occurs. And in some cases, we recognize that those situations only served as a stepping off point for your healing, so that you know what standards and what boundaries that you have. As we continue along this journey, individual pieces are falling into place. We're starting to have a greater understanding. We're starting to have a greater awareness of our deeper wounds. The shadow work is getting more and more intense, but it's also becoming more and more fulfilling and rewarding at the same time. We're starting to identify our tribe. We're starting to recognize the things that we value personally in life, the things that we did need, the things that were not offered to us that we're now providing to ourselves. And as we do that, each of these little fractures of glimmers of wonderful healing and happiness and joy and love are all starting to become a full picture of what life is like now for you compared to the way life used to be. You're living at a whole different level than you were. You're finally embracing yourself in all aspects, all of your beautiful qualities, and all of the things that you still have to heal from. There's a tremendous amount of things that we have to be grateful for and to be in love with, and that includes the struggles that brought us here to this point. Without those struggles, you would not understand how beautiful it is that you've made it to this point. I'm glad you're here. I like to pull from a lot of different decks, and it just depends on which decks I'm feeling from. Do you have a favorite deck that you like to pull from in certain times? And if that's the case, what is your favorite deck? So I'm curious. We have a absolutely beautiful. So we have some brand new feelings. Maybe for the first time, recognizing what it feels like to feel secure, to feel stable, to feel honored and recognized and respected. And it's a whole different level of confidence and self-esteem where I know who I am, and I know where I'm safe, and I know where I'm loved, and I know where I'm valued. I know where my contributions matter, and I know what it feels like when I don't feel safe. And so I'm in this place now where I can step in, and the energy, as soon as it feels like there isn't that kind of stability and security here, I know to step back out, that this is something that I value more than anything. I value my safety, I value my stability, I value feeling like I don't have to worry about violence being a consequence of me being who I am. That is something that I never thought that I would find valuable, because if you think this feeling stable and secure and safe should be just a birthright, but it's not. And there's so many people out there that do not have this in their life, that when you finally do have an opportunity to embrace that for yourself, when you have a safe space, when you have your own home, when you have a secure foundation, when you have a circle of people who love you and will fight for you and defend you, there's just something so comforting about that. It brings out a new layer. It brings out a new level of who you are, because now they take away fear. They take away fear, that fear was a punishment, that fear was used against you. And when that doesn't exist anymore, there's nothing stopping you. There's things that you're putting into place right now, that you're starting to begin cleaning up. You're wrapping up all these projects that weren't finished, because we're decluttering. We're getting rid of all the things, and everything's not worthy of just throwing it out. Like, a lot of this is about just finishing for your own satisfaction, decluttering for the sake of clarity and for the sake of leaving room for what's new. And that's the next step. That's what we're about to embark upon. So we're in this preparation phase of evaluating our successes and our endeavors in the past. What's worked, what's not worked. Let me wrap this up. Let me see how this turned out, because I didn't finish it. I didn't see it through. And I know that if I really want to be successful in these great new ideas, that I need to finish this test. I need to complete these projects. I need to clear these things out of my space if they are no longer suited to what's going forward. But I have a fantastic idea, and I can't wait to share it. And I'm excited to embark upon it. And also, I know that there is tremendous power and potential in it. And it all comes to fruition when all of that power and ideas are concentrated and focused and brought together. And I feel like I have the strength and the intention of seeing it fully through. It is a phenomenal idea. Your ideas are amazing, and they are the result of everything that you've come through. Even though it's like, if I could have been this, and I should have been this, and this could have happened, and I should have my PhD by now, but I'm just starting college again. But that doesn't matter anymore, because I know that what it is that I was preparing myself to embark upon is all in my hands now. It doesn't matter when I began that journey. It doesn't matter when I start that again. It doesn't matter where I pick up from and continue. What matters is that everything leading up into this point is what developed this idea of what it is that I can do, and what it is that I want to do and bring to this world and contribute while I'm here. It's going to be a really beautiful thing, what you're doing and what you're accomplishing and everything that you've brought up until this point. It's just the beginning. Spirit hedge back. There is a absolutely undeniable force working behind you. it you can feel it. You know that this time is different. You know that it's not just the healing that you've done. It feels like like something bigger. There's more. It's like everything's falling into place, and when it hasn't fallen into place yet, you just know and trust that it hasn't yet, and that's okay. It's coming. How do you know that? You just do. You just know that at some point you became so in tune with yourself. You started trusting yourself. Your intuition started to feel so clear and so strong. Even when you doubt it, you still have that in the back of your head. You know, you do know. But then you get these little signs and symbols. You have dreams, or you hear a song, or you smell, or there's little reminders that your guardians, that your spirit advisors and ancestors have been conspiring in your favor, and they have been protecting you and walking you through all these difficult pieces just so you can get to this point. And they're proud of you. They've seen everything that you've gone through, even the things that no one else has, the things that you never shared. They saw it. They helped guide you. We take a moment to honor and thank our elders, our ancestors, our spirit guides, and embrace the love that they show us, that unconditional love and support that just simply is beyond a worldly human compassion. There's nothing impure or ill-intentioned from these guides. Everything that they guide you towards and guide you away from and help you avoid, everything that they detour you from, everything that they force you to focus on has all been purely for your well-being, for your healing, for your advancement, for your goals, for your joy, for your happiness. That's what they're there for. Make sure you take a moment to honor and thank them today. There's a lot more to come, and they've got your back, and they're going to continue to do this, and you can trust that. Trust how you feel. Trust the signs. Don't question them. Just trust the signs. That's what they want you to do. That's what this sign is. Well, sometimes cards pop out at us. I love these. We have a really powerful message here as well. The siren, our inspiration, our muse, our attention to beauty, our recognition of beauty even in the ugly, our acceptance of the nature of all things in their truest form has inspired us in a very powerful way. And it's because of this artistic self, this natural inclination towards beauty that you have, towards seeing beauty in all things, taking the most vile of situations and being able to find that little tiny glimmer of something is something that is so important and so valuable to all of humanity. And there are so very few people who are very good at that. And you're seeing this message because you've become very good at that. And because of that, you've been able to really evolve your ideas and your ambition and really hone in your intuition on what it is that's next for you. Which brings us to the vessel. That's the third card. We're going to put that behind. Right now, we have a very important role. It's not necessarily a full do role. We are in a receptive mode. There are a lot of things that do not require our attention right now. There are a lot of tests that will try to take our focus away from the things that we are intentionally focused on. The message here is to not respond, to not react. Instead, allow those lessons to continue to be signs, to continue to guide you, to continue to absorb. There's a lot still that we have to learn. As much as we've done, as much as we've overcome, and how far we've already come on this journey, we're at a point now where we can stop with that protective mode that we had been in, that defensive mode that we had been in for a very, very long time. And now we're opening ourselves up to receiving from others around us, to embracing others' ideas, to being inspired by each other, and absolutely being so thrilled and excited to learn, to embrace the next stage of growth and learning for you. It's like being a child again. It's like when you used to enjoy going to school and learning, when you used to enjoy taking in new ideas and hearing from other people. And then at some point, there was triggers and there were things that you had to block yourself off for. You had to protect yourself. You could not embrace all of that. But we're coming into that period of growth again, where now we're becoming who we were meant to be. We are taking in all of the lessons and absorbing even more, and learning even more. And we're going to be able to use this to share all of this beautiful things through our inspiration, through our creativity, through our next endeavors. So continue to be inspired by learning, because it's going to take you to a completely different place. And we're not who we used to be. We don't have to be afraid of being vulnerable any longer. Which leads us to the mentor. I cannot express how critical mentors have been towards my own personal self-development. There has never been a time when I did not benefit from the education and experiences and the sharing of that wisdom from others, which is why I feel so compelled to share the wisdom and experiences and lessons that I have, because as I was along my journey, I was getting all of this information and able to learn and grow and heal from it in my own very unique way, inspired by them, learning from them, taking from them, and then applying those lessons in the way that I needed to use them. You do the work. The work is yours. There's never any shame or there's no devaluing the lesson because it came from someone else. You don't have to learn everything on your own. You're not expected to. One of the greatest gifts that life has to offer is the gift of perspective. Perspective comes from being able to hear and see a viewpoint from another individual. Their experiences led them to a completely different life than you. A really valuable lesson I learned from somebody that I consider a mentor. Maybe she doesn't consider herself one, but I remember that I was in a very feminist phase, and I was very much like, we don't have to have babies and be moms at home. And she's like, but you can if you want to. And I was like, why would we want to go backwards? And she's like, remember though, for some parts of humanity, some women were not actually allowed to stay home and raise their children. In fact, sometimes they were demanded to raise other people's children. Some of them were thrust out into the workplace and had to work multiple jobs and never saw their children. So if they decide that for them, feminism is the opportunity to be supported by people while you do the greatest gift of all, which is being a mother, that is feminism. What a great gift of perspective, because I had never considered that. For me, it was, you're forcing this situation on me that I didn't want. And for others, it was, you're forcing the situation on them that they don't want, but in a completely opposite way. And I had never considered that feminism was a very unique experience for each individual person. It wasn't something that could possibly come from only one viewpoint and one perspective. And if we do that, we're absolutely doing the same things that our captors and our enforcers have been thrusting upon us the entire time. Is the lack of choice, the lack of opportunity to choose for yourself. Mentors provide perspective. They show you lessons that you didn't even know you needed to learn. And so as you go back out and you embark in this next phase, take on some mentors. Pay attention to some other individuals. Learn from people that you think don't even have the kind of experiences that you do, or maybe not nearly enough, and just allow what they have to offer to be a part of your beautiful life, to fill you up, to complete the next phase of learning for you, to provide depth to your offerings to the world. There's a tremendous amount of value in all of these aspects, and we all have something very valuable to contribute. And it serves us very well to open ourselves up to that possibility that you can learn from your kids. You can learn from someone else's kids. You can learn from people much older than you, even though they have lived a very, very comfortable life and have never endured the kind of struggles that you have. If you have reached that level of healing where you are feeling stable, confident, and secure in yourself, it is much safer to open yourself up to these different perspectives and all of this information. And there is a great beauty and inspiration in that as well, and it's going to serve you going forward. So Spirit wants you to know that. Be open to it. Remember that it's completely okay to be inspired by others, to allow others to light your flame. No two flames will ever burn the same.